Hello learners, I Dr. Niradhar De, faculty member, School of Education, Indira Gandhi National Open University, welcome you all to this video lesson session. Today we are going to discuss one of the very important topic so far as your online course is concerned, that is scales of measurement. Today we will be discussing on what are the different scales that we can use when we engage ourselves in the process of measurement, especially in educational measurement. As we all are the teacher, we are involved in the school process, we take test of our learners and we evaluate their performance, and also we analyze and interpret their scores. So when we analyze and interpret their scores, their school based performance, what are the different scales we are supposed to use? So we will be focusing on different types of scales that we use in education, especially in the teaching learning system. Let us go forward. Friends, as you know, presently we are in the 12th week of your online course, and we are going through the 12th module of your online course. The title of the module is Tabulation and Graphical Presentation of Data. And friends, as you know, there are 3 video lessons are there in this module. First is meaning, nature and organization of data. Second is graphical representation of data, and third is scales of measurement. We have already discussed meaning, nature and organization of data, how you can organize data, how you can prepare a frequency distribution table, and how you can convert raw score or individual score into group score. That already we have discussed. Then in our second lesson, we have also discussed that how we can use different types of figures. So far as data analysis and interpretation is concerned, we can use a type of pictograph, we can use a type of line graph, we can use a type of bar graph or histogram. We have already discussed with taking certain examples in our last video lesson. And in this lesson today we will be focusing on different types of scales of measurement. Let us go forward. So friends, before discussing our today's session, let me to focus upon certain learning outcomes of today's video lesson, and as well as the part E content that you have received from this online course. First of all, after going through this video lesson, you will be able to explain the concept of scales of measurement. What is the concept of different scales of measurement, that elaborately we will discuss. Then further we will be you will be able to explain the properties of measurement. So what are the different properties of measurement? That is also another concern of today's lesson. Then further you will able to classify different scales of measurement. So what are the different scales of measurement, and at what situation, at what condition you have to use which scale, and how you can classify it, that also we will discuss. And the last learning outcome of today's video lesson, that is you will be able to explain the characteristics and uses of different scales of measurement. So what are the characteristics of different scales of measurement, and how we can use these scales of measurement so far as data analysis and interpretation is concerned. So friends, now let us go forward to understand the first learning outcome, that is concept of scales of measurement. So what is the concept of it? First of all, we all know that when we talk about measurement, measurement is quantitative in nature. Friends, already we have discussed in our initial video lessons, in our initial module of this online course, about the concept of measurement, concept of assessment and concept of evaluation. We have discussed that measurement is some extent quantitative in nature. When we deal with certain quantity, with certain number, with certain frequency, we call it is measurement. So this is the quantitative description of something, quantitative description of one's performance. And when we analyze the quantitative score and when we try to emerge certain meaning from the quantitative data analysis, then we can say that that is the work of assessment. And when we establish a type of value judgment from our data analysis, then we can say that is evaluation. So here my first point is measurement is quantitative in nature because it deals with certain numbers, certain frequencies. And further, to understand about scales of measurement, we can say that it is the process of assigning numbers to objects or events based on accepted norms and rules. So here we have to use certain norm, we have to use certain rules, and when we engage ourselves to assess or to measure certain object or certain event, so that we can say we will be using certain scales in this process. And further, we can also put certain example, just like for example conducting a unit test and assigning scores or marks to children's performance is measurement. Okay, so what we do, we develop a test, and to know the progress of the learners, to know the mastery of the learners, we administer that test. And when we administer that test, then ultimately we engage ourselves for the process of assessment. That means it may be in terms of marks of the learners, and it may be in terms of certain grades of the learners. So what we are doing here, we are just assessing the performance of the students. So that is, we can say, measurement. Then while assigning numbers to object or events, certain properties need to be considered. So we use certain properties. Further we will be discussing that what are the different properties that's called as measurement properties, and that properties further helps us to understand better about different scales of measurement. And further we can say that these properties are known as the different types of scales of measurement. So scales of measurement is based upon the qualities or based upon the certain criteria or certain properties. So friends, now let us go forward to understand about what are the different properties of measurement. Here you see, now it is visible on your screen that three types of properties have been highlighted. First is property of identity, then property of order, then third is property of additivity. So try to understand what is the concept, what is the meaning of these three properties, and this is the scale of measurement: property of identity, property of order, and property of additivity. So try to understand the first property of a scale of measurement, that is property of identity. So here you see, each number has a particular identity. So when we talk about let any person, any student, or when we talk about different infrastructure which is available in any educational institute or in any other institute, many a time when you are a student in the school or a student in college or university, you must have observed that every article of your school or every article of your university is having certain special or certain identity mark. So what is that identity mark? It may be a table, it may be a chair, it may be other types of infrastructure also. You will find that certain, it may be in code, it may be in symbol, certain numbers are assigned. So that we can say that this is the property of identity. Every object is having certain identity. Then further we can say the numbers assigned to objects and events are not the same, and they themselves have their own identities. So you will find that the numbers that we assign, you can say, to any learner, to any student, or to any article, any object, you will find that the identity of the numbers are different. Okay, just like as an example, enrollment of the students. So when you took admission in your college or when you took admission in your school, you must have assigned a roll number, or you must have assigned a type of enrollment number. So you will find that your enrollment number is different from other. That means you have your own identity with a number, with a symbol, you can say. So that is, you can say, the property of identity. It may be a roll number, it may be a type of identity of enrollment number, or whenever you appear any examination, it may be a type of entrance examination, you will find that you are assigning a type of control number, or you are assigning a type of roll number. So what is this control number or hall ticket number? So that is also a type of identity. So when we talk about the properties of measurement, the first property is property of identity, so that we can identify, we can define that property very clearly. And further, the second property is property of order. So try to understand that what is the property of order. Assigning numbers can be arranged in order or rank. Okay, so what we can do, let enrollment numbers are assigned. Okay, so it may be starting from 01, then 02, 03. So it is in order, either it is in ascending order or in descending order. You can take the example of different rooms in your hostel. You can also take example of the room numbers of in a hotel. You will find that let in the first floor, you will find the number starts from 101, 102, 103 accordingly. Then in the second floor, number starts from 201, 202, 203 accordingly. So here, when we talk about property of order, that means so far as their enrollment number or roll number or any other identity is concerned, we can just arrange it in terms of ascending or descending order. Okay, it may be in the increasing order or it may be in the decreasing order. If it is in increasing order, it means the lower number will come first, then after the upper numbers. And if it is in descending order, it means the higher number will come first, then continuously the you can say it will reduce, the lower number will come after the higher number. So accordingly, property of order means if you have given a specific identity to any phenomena, it may be object, it may be a person, it may be ability of a learner, ability to a students, then further we can also order it so far as their you can say achievement score is concerned, subject based score is concerned, or other types of score is concerned. Then the third property of measurement, that is property of additivity. Here you see property of additivity. The term additivity comes from the word that is addition. Okay, so here the feature of additing the numbers or the feature of sum of the numbers can be used, just like assigned numbers can be summed up and a new number can be created. Just like let a student has scored 52 in English, 76 in mathematics, 62 in social science, accordingly in other subjects. So what we can do, property of additivity, it says that we can just add these numbers, and after adding these numbers we can also you can say provide certain more meaning to the subject performance of the learners. We can calculate the mean score, we can just analyze one's data that let 6 subjects are there, in which subject the learner has done well. Okay, and we can arrange these scores in a type of order. Okay, it may be ascending or it may be descending. So here when we talk about the property of additivity, that means we can add 2 numbers, we can add all these numbers, and further we can emerge certain more meaning from the property of additivity. Further we will be discussing detail about different types of scale. So here my focus is upon 3 things. First of all, property of identity, then property of order, and the third is property of additivity. Being a student of education, you should understand these 3 properties. If you understand these 3 properties, then definitely it will not be difficult for your part to understand the scales of measurement. Let us go forward. So friends, our second concern, our second learning outcome, that is classification of scales of measurement. So far as scales of measurement is concerned, we can say that there are 4 classifications or 4 types of scales of measurement. Just like first is the nominal scale, this is the lower order scale you can say. Then second is the ordinal scale, third is the interval scale, and the fourth is the ratio scale. You see the order is like this. So, nominal scale is having very few characteristics, ordinal scale is having something more characteristics in comparison to nominal scale, interval scale is having more characteristics in comparison to ordinal scale, and the ratio scale is the highest scale. So, we will try to understand that what is the very concept of a nominal scale, an ordinal scale, an interval scale, and a ratio scale, and we will be discussing that where to use these 4 types of scale, what is the use in the teaching learning process and in measurement of these 4 types of scales are concerned. Let us go forward. First of all, let us focus upon the first scale, that is characteristics of nominal scale. So, what are the different characteristics are there for the nominal scale? So, friends, you see the name of the scale is nominal. Nominal comes from name. So, try to understand what are the different features of this nominal scale. First of all, nominal scale employ the property of identity. We have already discussed the first property of measurement, that is the property of identity. So, here nominal scale focus upon the property of identity. It means here by providing a sign, by providing a symbol, by providing a number, you have to identify the phenomena, you have to identify the object, you have to identify a learner, you have to identify a population. Then further, in nominal scale, numbers or symbols are assigned to represent individual or objects or events or categories. Okay, so we can identify, we can define certain categories, we can define certain, we can understand certain event. Then certain object that we use, it may be at our home, it may be in our educational institutions, and we can also assign certain numbers or symbols for the individual. It may be a type of enrollment number, it may be a type of serial number also. Then further, it assigns a number or symbol in order of some rules. So, here you see when you assign a symbol or a number, you have to follow certain rules, you have to follow certain norms. So, what are these norms and what are these rules we will discuss. Okay. Then further, you see what statistics we can use in the nominal scale to analyze the data, to analyze the number, because we will get only frequencies so far as nominal scale is concerned. So, that is why what we can do here, the statistics of frequency and percentage can be used in nominal scale, because you will find the data in terms of certain numbers, how many boys, how many girls, how many rural people, how many urban people. Okay, you can also classify that how many chair, how many table, how many blackboard, how many computer. So, these infrastructures are available in any institute. So, what you can do, you can just write down their number, okay, and you can assign a number and you can count it. So, that is why very limited statistical techniques can be used in a nominal scale, just like statistics of frequency and percentage. And you can also calculate that how many percentage of boys, how many percentage of girls, how many percentage of rural, how many percentage of urban, how many percentage of semi-urban accordingly. Let us go forward to understand more about nominal scale. So, friends, now let me to give certain examples of nominal scale. Just like we can classify male and female, we can make two categories of the population as male population and female population, just like boys students and girl students. So, what you can do, you can just count down, you can just count their number, that how many, whether they are in 50 or in 60 or in 70. And further what you can do, you can just assign, let 50 male members are there, you can assign M1, M2, M3, that means male 1, male 2, male 3 accordingly. To female, you can also assign F1, F2, F3 accordingly. So, you can assign a type of identity mark to know that he or she is the person. Then further, accordingly, rural and urban, how many rural and how many urban are there? You can just use the statistics of frequency as well as percentage. Then literate and illiterate, in a population, how many literate persons are there and how many illiterate persons are there, that also you can do in nominal scale. Then further, number assigned for jersey of players in a football team. You might have observed it may be football team, or it may be cricket team, or it may be hockey, or any type of sports. You will find that in the jersey certain numbers are marked. It may be 67, it may be 92, it may be 99. So what does it mean? That also a type of identity mark for the players, and that is the work of nominal scale. Then further, to understand about the concept of ordinal scale, first of all you should focus upon the term. The term is your ordinal. Ordinal comes from order. So here you have to put certain order. So that means it talks about you can say something more, or it gives something more meaning to a phenomena, to an object. Okay, just like ordinal scale includes the characteristics of a nominal scale and provides a particular order or rank to the score. Try to understand. Ordinal scale includes the characteristics of a nominal scale. So all the characteristics of a nominal scale are included in ordinal scale, and at the same time ordinal scale also provides a type of order. Okay, it may be either ascending or in descending. Just like I can give example, just like we can say the height of the learners, the weight of the learners, age of the learners. So what you can do? You can just order them. So far as height is concerned, first of all you can measure the height, you can write the height of the students. Then further, who is highest in terms of heights, who is lowest in terms of height, you can also order them. And here you can order or you can also rank them. And further we can say that so far as achievement score of the learners. So what you can do? Let you have raw scores. Let 40 students are there, you have administered a test of mathematics or a test of literature. Then after assessing their copies, you can just assign certain marks, let 50, 52, 36, 70, 65. Then further what you can do? So these are the raw score, or these are the individual score. You can just order or rank this individual score. That means who scored highest at the group, who scored lowest at the group, who scored 10th rank in the group. So accordingly you can just rank them and order them. So that's why scores are arranged either in ascending or descending order. It may be in increasing order or it may be in decreasing order. If it is in increasing order, that means the order starts from the lowest to highest score, and if it is in decreasing order, that means the number starts from the highest to lowest score. Okay. Then further we can say that ordinal scale employs the property of order. Try to understand. So what was the second property of the scales of measurement? The second property is the property of order. So here ordinal scale uses the property of order. That means here you are just not only simply classify, not only simply use the symbols or the name or by providing certain scores. Further what you are doing, you are also ordering them, you are also making them or arranging them in terms of certain rank. Okay, so far as their abilities and other criteria and characteristics is concerned. And ordinal scale employs the property of order and applies the property of identity too. So two things, I have already said that ordinal scale includes all the characteristics of nominal scale, and it provides certain order and certain rank. So that's why it's called as the second scale in terms of the characteristics, or the second level of the scale, second stage of the scale. And further let me to give certain example of an ordinal scale, just like ranking of students on the basis of marks they score. As a teacher you might be doing, and I am sure that this is part of your work after evaluating the copies of your learners, you are just analyzing the data, analyzing their score, and when you are analyzing the score, you are also ranking it. And further, you can also give the example of the result, the school result or the board result. You will find that after the board result, you are getting that top 100 rank. So what does it mean? So this is the work of the ordinal scale. That means we are just ranking the percentage of the learners, okay? And further, ordering students on the basis of other measurement parameters like height of the students. You can first measure the height, then you can order the height. Then weight of the students, you can measure the weight, then as per the highest to lowest, you can also rank them or you can also order them. Then further, ranking students on the basis of scores received in different sports. Let you are conducting a type of sports, okay, it may be cricket, it may be other types of sports also. How many points, who earns, okay. So for knowing that, or that also you can do by using a type of ordinal scale. Let us go forward. So friends, you see these are the certain statistics that you can use in ordinal scale. So far as measurement, measures of central tendency, if the data is in a raw form, you can use, you can find out the mean, median and mode, but not in group data, but only in the raw data. Then rank difference methods of correlation also you can use, ranks calculation you can also do. Then quartile deviation statistics can be used. Then chi-square test can also be used. So these are the statistics that you can use so far as ordinal scale is concerned. Then further, now let us try to understand our third scale, that's called as the interval scale. So what does it mean? Interval means there is a type of difference, a equal difference, or you can say a equal difference or equal interval. So what does it mean? What is the equal interval? So let us try to understand. As I have already said that in ordinal scale, the data that you will get, that is in raw form, or that you can say that the data is individual data. But when we talk about interval scale, it means the raw data will be converted into group data, into certain class intervals, and these class intervals are also called as equal class interval, okay. So here ordinal scale includes the characteristics of here it is interval scale. Interval scale includes the characteristics of ordinal scale and interprets data in terms of equal class interval, okay. So it includes all the characteristics of ordinal scale. First of all, it also includes the nominal scale. That means it provides a type of identity, a type of symbol, a type of number. Then further, it also ordered that number, it also ordered that, you can say, ability. With ordering it, it also interprets the data in terms of equal class interval. We will try to understand that what is the equal class interval. I have already said that this is only possible when you convert the raw data into group data, okay. We have already discussed in frequency distribution table, okay. In frequency distribution table, we just converted the raw scores into certain group score, into certain class interval, and that is the work of the interval scale. And it has the characteristics of identity, order and additivity with an arbitrary 0 point. So try to understand here four things are there. First of all, the first characteristics is the identity, second is the order, then additivity, it also add data to give certain more meaning. At the same time, an arbitrary 0 point is also possible in interval scale. So what is the arbitrary 0 point? This is not the absolute 0 point, rather you can say that this is just like relative 0 point, though it looks like 0, but exactly that is not 0. We will try to understand further. It arranges data in terms of equal class intervals such as let 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80 and accordingly. So here you see 40 to 50, the difference is 10, the difference of class interval or the interval of the class is 10, 50 to 60 is also 10, 60 to 70 is also 10 and 70 to 80 is also 10. So here we can say that in a class how many learners are there, what is the frequency between 40 to 50, 50 to 60 accordingly. Then interval scale has an arbitrary zero measurement, but not the absolute zero measurement. Just like here you see I have given one example, when you convert raw score into group score, that is in terms of class interval, such like just like here, let we interpret or we convert achievement score into class interval, just like here class interval, lowest score is 20 and highest score is 70, and we have just made it in 5 class intervals, 20 to 30 number of students and the frequencies is 5, then 30 to 40 frequency is 4, 40 to 50 frequencies is 3, 50 to 60 frequency is 6. Then accordingly you can just convert raw score into group score in terms of class intervals. We can give certain example. I have already said that here the 0 point that we will use, that just like an arbitrary 0 point, that is not the true 0 point, that is not the absolute 0 point. So here we can say that all types of mental and educational measurements are possible in interval scale, such as achievement of the students, intelligence of the students, aptitude of the students, and mental health of the students. So here these are, it may be achievement, it may be intelligence, creativity, aptitude, mental health, personality, or other types of attributes and variables are concerned. So when we measure the achievement of a student, we can't say that he or she is having 0 achievement or 0 score in mathematics, 0 score in science. 0 means he doesn't know anything. You can't say that. Okay, even if one is not successfully solved all the questions in a test, but in another test he or she might be able to solve few questions. So that's why the curve of mental measurement never touches the baseline, never touches the baseline. Some extent of achievement, some extent of intelligence, some extent of aptitude and mental health is already with every individual, you can say. So that's why when we engage ourselves for mental measurement, for educational measurement, so here there is no place of 0 measurement. You can't say that 0 achievement, 0 intelligence or 0 aptitude. So that's why the 0 that you understand here, that is a type of arbitrary 0, not a true 0. And the statistics that we can use in interval scale, just like measures of central tendency in group data, but not in raw data, that is mean, median and mode. Raw data also you can use, but group data specifically you can use. Then measures of variability, it may be standard deviation, average deviation, range and quartile deviation. Then correlation in product moment method. Okay. Then t-test, that is the significance difference between two mean. In educational statistics that we use, highly we use. Then ANOVA and ANCOVA, analysis of variance and analysis of covariance. Then the last scale, that's called as the highest scale, that is the ratio scale. Okay. So here you see it includes all the characteristics of earlier scales with a true 0 point in measurement. So here you see the characteristics of a nominal scale, an ordinal scale, an interval scale are included in ratio scale, with it provides another criteria, that is a 0 point. So that is the true 0 point. So true 0 point is only possible in physical measurement. So when we engage ourselves in measurement of physical sciences, it may be mathematics, it may be science, it may be physics. Okay. So we engage ourselves all in measurement of different physical objects. Okay. So here true 0 point is there. So that is possible only in a ratio scale. It is the simple difference between an interval scale and a ratio scale. In an interval scale, arbitrary 0 point is there, but in a ratio scale, true 0 point is there. Then measurement of all types of physical objects can be done, and all types of statistics are used in ratio scale, both parametric and non-parametric. So all types of statistics can be used in ratio scale. Okay, so whatever statistics we are using in educational field, at the same time in a physical measurement, that are come under the ratio scale. So friends, just to recapitulate, today we discussed about different scales of measurement. First we try to understand the concept of the properties of measurement, and we classified different types of scales, just like nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale and ratio scale. And further we also discussed about the concept of these 4 types of scales and what are the different statistics that you can use and what is the use of these 4 types of scales so far as analyzing and interpreting learners' performance in school practices are concerned. For further queries, you can write to me niradhar@ignou.ac.in. You can make me a telephone call. My intercom is 2994. You can visit my Facebook account, my YouTube channel, at the same time my Twitter handle. You will find many such video lessons relating to education, educational measurement and assessment, and that will help you a lot for your course. Thank you.